What's going on YouTube? It's Filthy and we're back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I'm a big believer in you've got to at least buy a ticket to things because you at least give yourself the chance to get lucky. So for this progressive chance event I popped one void hoping to get really lucky and get Madame Cerise. I decided we'd do a sacred as well, hoping for Bad Alcazar or this Sylvan Watcher dude. We got gold. We opened the shard, we got gold. I couldn't believe it. I screamed because I thought maybe it was Bad Alcazar. And then in a cruel twist of fate, no, it was Holsring, who is, by all accounts, one of the worst legendaries in the game. Now, I don't really know what to do here because I feel on one hand, I've been really fortunate. We've popped 2 sacreds on this account in the first month. The first one gave us Shiramani and the second one gave us Holsring. So we've had 2 golds out of 2 sacreds. So that's really lucky. We also got a third legendary out of our ancients on the 2x Shamrock. So in terms of gold, 3, that's fortunate. These champions are already 5-star. We can take them to 50 and it's no problem. But I mean, if it could have been, you know, Valk, Rotos and Bad Alcazar, I mean, we'd be talking different story. Is this guy really that bad? I don't think so. I think he's going to be very, very helpful for our early game account. I'm absolutely not putting books into him. I don't think he would ever be worthy of books unless his kit is improved or changed. But I think for an early game account, he's a pretty decent pull because he's going to help you in a couple of areas that are actually really tough to beat at the start of the game. So his A1 attacks twice at random, 50% increased attack buff on himself if he crits. I think this is not a great move. It's double hit, which is nice. It's at random, which sucks. You can't control where it goes. Putting increased attack on himself is okay. It's going to pump up his damage a little bit, but I'm not sure damage is the real reason we're going to be building him, so I don't like this that much. His A2, triple attack at random, so again, you can't target this, unfortunately. Does have 20% defense ignore if there is a hex debuff on the target, so either he has to place this himself or you have somebody else with a set that places hex. He'll do a further 25% ignore, so a 50% defense ignore if the hex debuff is on the Bannerlord or a Knight Revenant faction. Mega specific, potentially somewhat vaguely useful in Faction Wars or Doom Tower, but again, you're going to have to really play that by ear depending on what factions you're facing in what waves. And then his A3, which I think is the most exciting part of his kit here. A 4-hitter again at random, which is rubbish, but each hit has a 75% chance of placing Hex for 3 turns. Can't be resisted if that's a Bannerlord or Knight Revenant he's placing it against. Also has a 75% chance of stealing 25% turn meter. Steals 50% if it's Bannerlord or Knight Revenant. If he has got 75% or more turn meter after the steal, so basically if he triple steals, he'll put Perfect Veil on himself for 2 turns, and then he's got a passive which you need to ascend him for, which is if he attacks 2 targets under Hex, places Perfect Veil on himself for 1 turn, but also importantly he places increased critical damage, or just gives him increased crit damage of 30% when he's attacking under a Perfect Veil. We do have ourselves a Rector Drath, so we can always get the Veil up if we were to make those 2 a combo. I'm not saying that's worth it, but that's something that we could do. So why do I think this guy's going to be useful? It's this A3 here. It's a quad hit, which is quite rare in the game. There are a few champs kicking around with triple hits, but the quad hit is unusual, so that's kind of good. And the turn meter steal, that's really useful potentially in finite progression, because we'll be able to, if we can get the shield down before we use this move, we can steal up to 75% of the finite's turn meter. With such a big steal, if he does get, you know, 50-60% turn meter, it's kind of like half an extra turn as well. The other area I think is going to be really useful is going to be Dark Fae, because again, my Dark Fae strategy probably for an early game account will be to try and use Armiger and this guy now, I guess, to try and lock out her turn meter. So Armiger and Holsring could pair together quite well. We just need to, on finite, put in the presets for the final, for the boss stage, that we want to open with the A2 to get the triple hit, try and get the shield down with other champions, and then come in with the A3 once the Fire Knights has got some turn meter. Whether that pans out or not, I'm not sure. He's also the wrong affinity for Fire Knight 20, which is not great. But early on, Fire Knight is definitely the most difficult dungeon for you to do. That and Spider are both quite difficult. Now Spider, he might actually be okay, because on stage 10 at the moment, I can do it. It's just really slow. I am lacking a little bit of AoE damage. He's not AoE, but these random hits could be hitting any of the spiderlings. You can get Hex out, which can do some extra damage to extra people, so that could be useful. Stealing the turn meter of the spider, again, could also be quite helpful, stop it from healing. So I think there is something to be said for building this guy out to 50. Lashing some, we've got CVC coming on Tuesday, I'm going to make some more perception gear, I'll stick that on him. I would maybe run him through the early masteries to get the accuracy and maybe down to Evil Eye. And that's it. I probably wouldn't 60 the guy at the moment. We'll see how he performs in the Fire Knight, and he might well be a champ that we use. So if we just have a quick check-see on the Fire Knight affinities. So 10 would be good for us to get to, because that's 4 to 5 star gear, so we definitely help there. He's strong on stage 10, neutral stage 11, 12 you can bring anybody. Unfortunately 13, which is where you first start to get for 6-star gear, he's weak affinity. He's going to be garbage if he weak hits, so you can't bring him to Fire Knight on force affinity at all. But 16, 15, which is again, 16 is kind of where you want to get to, because then you don't get bruise in tournaments. He might well have to be 60, but if we put a strong team around him and Armiger, we might be able to get away with them at 50s. But I think there's an interesting, potential to build. For the Doom Tower, I haven't quite got up to Dark Fae yet. It just takes age, with the account being only a month old. The waves take a lot of time. I've got to really land the RNG to lock out the Cynic, because he's annoying. Cethalia is a really annoying champion to deal with as well. Cleanse, heal. So this is not the easiest thing, but I do suspect that before we get to the end, we'll have a crack at the first Dark Fae, which is, here, stage 20. Quite a few people are getting stuck there. And yeah, turn meter manipulation could well be the way forward. So overall, I think fine, great, 5-star champion. I think we can do something with him. We're going to have to try him out. But I think early game accounts, you can be quite happy. It could have been a crap epic, for instance, albeit we would have liked that bad Elcazar. Right, I've been the Filthy Casual. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be back with some more content soon. Take it easy, guys. Peace.